Hey everyone, and welcome to Holding the Line with Got Your Six Counseling. I'm Peggy, and this is Brittany. This is a space where we get real about the shit nobody wants to talk about: mental health, life, trauma, healing, and everything in between. Sometimes we get clinical, sometimes we get messy, but it's always honest. Quick reminder, this podcast isn't therapy, and it's not a substitute for professional care. We're not here to provide therapy, diagnose, or treat. If you're struggling with mental health, please reach out to a licensed provider. You don't have to go through it alone. We've got your six. We're just two trauma therapists showing up as humans first, ready to have real, unfiltered conversations about the stuff that matters. We're here to break the stigma, share what we've learned from both sides of the therapy room, and talk about the challenges people face every day, especially in the veteran and first responder communities. Whether it's trauma, burnout, relationships, identity, or just getting through the week, we believe that these conversations matter. They deserve space, and that's what we're holding the line for. So let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Holding the Line with Got Your Six. We are your hosts, and this is episode 16, Grief in the Holidays When the Season Hurts. And we want to start out today with a little bit different approach. I provide you with a little bit of a trigger warning, some red flags to let you know that we're going to be talking about some pretty sensitive issues, sensitive topics today. So if this is a hot button issue for you, you are free to stay around and listen, but this is something that you're working on with your therapist. Maybe this is one that you set out. Because it's a hot button issue for me. Also, I just noticed that we're both wearing pink. I'm so sorry. That was a ADHD moment, but this is a hot button issue for you. Then maybe you should sit it out.
Please
Maybe
listen with care.
Listen with care. We're going to let our lovely producer on the back end know to throw in a trigger warning before we even start speaking. So this will probably be your second warning to maybe set this one out. But we're going to be talking about some good stuff too. So it's not going to be super sad. So the holidays suck for a lot of people. They suck for me because I hate them. You guys heard in our other episode, we talked about pumpkin spice. What was it? Pumpkin spice and something else.
Seasonal depression.
Seasonal depression. You guys learned that I'm a total Scrooge, and my husband called me a Grinch yesterday. And maybe that's because I've got some unresolved stuff. Probably. I'm working on that, okay? Mind your business. But for some people, maybe this is why. And you're not really sure, but this is it. So I don't know what that's like for you, Peggy. It sucks for me.
I think I overcompensate during the holidays as
I
a way.
undercompensate.
Yeah, it's like I overcompensate as a way to like not feel it. Because
What does that say about people that do that though? Maybe that is the thing.
Again, like there's no median, because like, November 1st comes up and I want to feel everything Christmas versus, the blah. So the tree is up, everything's decorated, doesn't matter, because like I'd rather feel the joy for those 2 months for me versus kind of like the sadness that hits us, especially like those first few weeks in December, because we've lost somebody really important in our family.
Right. It's a form of distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Where other people kind of just go the opposite way, where they're like, ew, I hate the holidays, this is gross. It's that like secondary loss mindset of like, well, they're not here, so why bother celebrating, right? I think that's where a lot of people sit when I don't bother putting up decorations or stuff like that, But there's also that pressure of like, well, now I have to participate. I have to do these things because I have kids or my family is pushing me to, because it doesn't hit them as hard.
Yeah.
I think also it depends on like who it was that you lost or who they were to you. It makes a big difference. So moving into why holidays amplify grief.
Anniversary. Yeah, because it's the anniversary reactions. There's a lot of memories or rituals and traditions that highlight these absences. Like for us, the person that we lost, she would always like give out ornaments for Christmas. And like that's that one thing we got every year from her. And so like that's the one thing that goes up first, because like we have a tree full of it from like the years that we've been married and to our children and stuff like that. I mean, I have one ornament that hangs up all year from her.
Yeah. Yep. So then that stops, and then it becomes that thing of like, who's going to carry it on? Will someone carry it on? And you've got, how long have you and Josh been married? 20 some years, right?
Yep.
So you got 20 some years worth of ornaments, and it's like, well, that's the end, right? Kind of marks the end of a era for you guys, right? That was kind of like when Tim's mom died. Every year she made this, he calls it Chex Mix, I guess it's Chex Mix. It's like different cereals, but it's all smothered in like white chocolate. And all the years that we were married, she made it every year. And before she even died, I made it. She was like, hey, that's my thing. She was super upset that I was trying to make it. And another dish that I made, and I failed horribly, so I will never try to make that again. But I've kind of become that person now that makes a Chex Mix for everybody in their family. And I never thought that I would be that one, but she kind of passed the torch. So much like your ornament thing, maybe someone's taken that torch on, or maybe it was just something that stopped, right? Because it was too much for someone to just carry on.
Or
Um,
it's the anniversaries that are during the holidays specifically
yeah, or
when,
birthdays that fall.
hmm because when she specifically died during the holiday season, because it was like
Of
right after
course.
Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. Are you
Hmm.
supposed to be happy? Are you supposed to be sad? Like, what are you supposed to do in that in between?
Right. And if you have children, right, you're sad because this person died, but then you're kind of, I don't want to say pressured, but you're trying to put on a brave face and trying to be happy for your kids because they're not processing it the same way that they are. So there's a lot of mixed emotions there for people, I think, too. I had a family member that passed away like beginning of December. So yeah, kind of along the same lines. And so while his immediate family was very devastated, we all were very sad, but they were going through a much harder situation than everyone else was. But there was all this pressure of like getting together, but nobody wanted to do anything. So it is kind of really, really crappy. So then every year comes around and we're reliving it again, just over and over and over again. Um, and then like I mentioned earlier, that increased like pressure from your family to like, well, we do this every year. Well, maybe I don't want to do it this year. Sharon, my grandmother's name is Sharon, and so that's actually pretty funny that I said that. She would never force us to do anything. Sorry, Mima. But like, maybe we don't want to do it, right? Like, maybe we just want to sit this one out, because we're having a hard time this year, or this time of year sucks for us.
For some people, it's always been like hard and it's always been like a time of loneliness.
Hmm.
You're wanting, because, different types of grief, not always like death or something like that. It's just been lonely.
Right.
I grew up just me and my dad. So, like, it was kind of just lonely for us. We didn't have family around us. We were just us. And it was kind of a sad Christmas too. I think that's why I overcompensate for Christmas because we had like the little Charlie Brown tree.
She's like, I have to do now what I never had.
So
It's the
like
opposite.
it was that longing and that loneliness and even resentment because like you're seeing everybody else have like these big things, or because like I was the angel tree kid and like I almost hated being the angel tree kid because I didn't want to feel like, great, hey, I'm poor, yay, thanks for putting it out, because like they'd pull you
Right.
out in class and like, here's all your stuff from the family that got you, and I'm like, thanks for pointing it
That's
out.
awful. I never knew they did that.
Yes, and like, here, you need to take it on the bus with you. And it's like it was another way for like people to point it out to me instead of like being nonchalant about it. So it was that grief of knowing I know I don't have anything. I don't have anything to go home to.
Right. And way to point it out to everybody else.
So embarrassment on top of it. But like the expectations of like I was supposed to have something and didn't, and just overwhelming sadness during the holidays. So again, that's why everything is the way it is in my house now.
That brings up another point of like not just grief of like people who have died, but also like that's not something you want to have to remember and relive, that like when you were a kid, your Christmases were kind of crappy and sad, and that you were pulled out and made to like be this spectacle of people that like you were this less fortunate kid. And not that the angel tree thing is not a bad thing, but like,
How some
that's
how some went about it. Yeah.
right. Like, yeah, here's all your things that you now have to like show to people on your way home that they know what that means. And so, yeah, that I think that's another good point that like it doesn't always have to be grief of like someone who died, but also like these awful situations you were put in growing up or like
Your
bad things that happen around that time of year too. Like, ew.
because it's like grief of your childhood
Yeah.
and like what you thought childhood's supposed to be, because like you see it going on now for like your own kids and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm so happy you have this buddy because I
Yeah.
didn't have any of that. You know,
Yep.
like I'll see like what is it, the people like on TikTok that make like the half-hearted meals, like 'cause it's like canned ham or spam or something like that, and I'm like, that was my meal. That was a
Right.
struggle meal. I was happy to have some of that. Will I touch it with a 10-foot pole now? Absolutely not.
No.
But I knew what it was to have those meals.
Yeah. When you don't have anything else.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
be like, yay, I have food.
Yeah. Because then it was survival. And now kids these days are like, oh, ramen is so good. My daughter lives on ramen. And some people can only afford that.
Because you have all of these reminders around you now, like here's the trees, here's the music, here's everything, and it's like you want it to be perfect or you don't want anything at all. Like you're like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it
Yeah.
maybe until the day of, and that's okay too.
I don't, the only thing I completely abhor is the music. Okay. Like I can deal with the tree. I can deal with, and some people just go so far over the top. I'm like, it's excessive. Okay. I can do it. I can do it in little, is that getting ready to fall? Oh my gosh. Did you replace all your records on the wall with, I just noticed that. When did you do that?
November 1st.
How come I didn't notice that?
Uh-uh.
We didn't have group supervision. We didn't have our meeting last week, so I guess I wouldn't have seen it then.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Unhinged. Unhinged. Okay, yeah. It's funny that we're talking about decor because that's our next one, environmental reminders. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know that any of the like the decorations and stuff are reminders. I don't know. Maybe there's something internal inside me that's like this music. Like my body is
The minute you
remembering.
hear Mariah Carey,
But
you're like,
listen,
it's just
yeah,
pisses me off.
may, maybe, but like up here, there's that brain body disconnect for me where I'm like, ugh, right? I don't know. So I was getting my nails done last week, and they were playing Christmas music, and my whole body was like twitching. I was like,
While I'm
like
over here
zero
like,
control.
look, I can hear this thing. This ring, ding, 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 ding.
We were coming home from my sister's house yesterday from
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, and Tim was in control of the. He was trying to take control of the music. He's like, I don't play Christmas music, and I was like, I will take us all out if you play Christmas music right now. He's like, I'll blast it from downstairs. I was like, I will wear earplugs. Okay, I will not listen to it. And then he started just singing it on his own. I was like, and Peggy, stop it. No. Look, the most Christmassy I'll get is the funny Christmas sweater. I bought an outfit for our Christmas party, and it's not even remotely Christmas.
Not even a little.
It's not. It's not even a little. Um, I don't know. Maybe there's something internal for you that is a reminder. I don't know. Maybe like you said with the ornaments. My great grandmother used to make Christmas ornaments. Her daughter took that over when she died. She would give us these little crocheted ornaments every year. Um, I would like imagined her like spending half the year making them, and then when she died, we found like this huge bag of a bunch that she had made all at once, and I was like, I feel like that's cheating, but it's okay. She would just like make a whole bunch and then just hand them out. Um, I don't know. Maybe that's a thing for you. And maybe it's a good way to remember. The gatherings, I think, for me are more of an issue. Like I just don't want to go. Like that's gotten to the point for me where I'm like, I would rather just stay home.
Guess like I like my little like Christmas land that I've made at home and I want to enjoy it. And like you already know me, a large group of people is called a nope.
Yeah, I think it's the peopling now at my age that's become like when I was a kid, I loved it, right? Like I loved getting around because my cousins were there. And my if you asked my cousin if she was here right now, she would tell you the same. But like that was the best part because we weren't adult. But the peopling is too much now,
Well,
I think.
and I guess it goes with what comes with the peopling because everybody wants to like tell the past stories either of
Hmm.
people that are no longer there
Yep.
or of just our past in general, and like I don't want to keep reliving it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because for some, it's cathartic,
Mhm.
and for the rest of us, we're like, why? Like, if I want to relive that on my own, that's one thing. But like, why are we doing it in this large group? Because then it gets awkward, or even emotional. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that here in front of you
I
guys
didn't
right
ask
now.
for group therapy
Right.
on on Christmas or
I
Christmas
have my
Eve
own
or
therapy, thank you. Like this must be a happy time, and I'm trying to be like present for my kids, and we're over here having this conversation, and it's hard to do both.
because then you got to explain it to the kids. Why is grandma crying? Okay.
Yep, yep. I sometimes wonder, like, everybody kind of has that one death that was kind of like that reckoning for them, and maybe that was the holiday after that. That was kind of just like that horrible, awful one. And maybe that was the one that stuck with you that kind of just changed things for you. And maybe that was it. Maybe that's why you don't like the holidays anymore, or maybe that's why you like Peggy and overcompensate. Maybe that was like the dividing line for you.
And if the tree could go up October 1st, it would. Josh won't let me. I would put a sheet on it. I would cut holes in it. It'd be a boo tree.
Don't listen to him. Live your life. Live your life. Do what you like. Okay? Do what you like. Um, then we
And
have the up with the Joneses. I could never, in no way, shape, or form, keep up with my neighbors.
well,
Uh, I,
there's always the one like it looks like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation house. Like
that's my neighbor.
it is 20,000 bulbs. It
Hmm.
is going to shine a light into your house and take you out.
And then, so you've got National Lampoon, and then what's the girl on the Grinch where she's got that gun and she's like shooting all the lights on her house? Is it Martha May Huvier or whatever? And like the other girl's trying to hang them, and they're all crazy, and then she's got the gun that like puts them all in place, and she's like, "Well, okay, good night." That's how I imagine you, like putting up your lights, putting up your tree. Yeah, keeping up with the neighbors, or even just seeing others being able to just do it, right? Like seeing others find joy. I'm like, where, how do you do that, right? Like, where do you find it? Like when my mother-in-law died, and then I got all her Christmas stuff, so many containers. First of all, where do you find the time? Where do you find the joy in this? Because it feels like such a huge task, but like if it makes you happy, then you want to do it. And I'm like, where is that inside? Maybe I do have a Grinch heart because I can't find it.
Mean, I needed to grow a couple sizes bigger during the holidays.
Right, right. And so I think that's where there's that social comparison because you say you overcompensate, but you still seem to find joy in it. My cousin's the same way. My mom does quite a bit. My dad does whatever my mom tells him to do. So like, he's hanging lights and he's doing stuff. My mom puts up like 4 trees. But I'm like, where? I It's a lot of stuff. But that means I have to take other stuff down. So maybe it's just like the overwhelm. You know, People find real joy in it. My neighbors' Christmas stuff like sings. Like you pull up at night and you get out and it's literally like you could walk up to their house and you're like, it's lit up, there's Christmas music playing, and I'm like, I will pop those blow ups.
And
That's where the rages is.
there's something about, and this is for a lot, is seeing other people's enjoy the season can hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
Because for
Because
me,
they're finding joy.
yeah, like for me, I'm, trying to find that joy and like trying to keep it alive, not just for myself, but for the kids too. And
Yeah.
like for some people, it's hard and like they are the Grinch or they are Scrooge, and that's okay.
Yeah.
They want to bah humbug it? Cool.
Maybe we just need support, right? Like maybe instead of just, ah, you're such a Scrooge, like why? Right? Like maybe we need to stop being mean to those of us that are Scrooge. The Grinch didn't hate Christmas. He just
Hated
hated
people.
people. I think that's an important distinction. And people were mean to the Grinch. You guys should rewatch it and watch it and closely.
Look,
He didn't
Scrooge
hate
needed
Christmas.
three ghosts to come to him, okay?
Scrooge was different. Scrooge had some stuff. People were mean to the Grinch. He led him to hate people, not Christmas, because the Grinch did love Christmas. Okay. But his heart was actually too small. So, you know, he did love his dog. His dog loved him. And we don't trust people who dogs don't like. So we gotta have to trust the Grinch because his dog was cool. So, some statistics on grief in the holidays. Peggy, what do we have?
Okay. 64% of people with grief 64% of people with grief report that the holidays are the hardest time of the year. American Hospice Foundation.
That's
44.
not shocking at all.
No, because I was actually surprised at some of the stuff, like grief can be, because like this Thanksgiving and Christmas are supposed to be like these two times of the year where people just come together and are supposed to be together and your family's supposed to be together. But what happens when they're not?
Right. I also wonder, though, too, because they say the holidays, they don't distinguish between like, Thanksgiving or Christmas. But like this morning, I was having a conversation with a husband, and he said that Thanksgiving was harder for him than Christmas, which surprised me. And in turn, having my own conversation with my therapist, literally at the same time, she said, well, Thanksgiving kicks off the holiday
Holiday
season. And
season.
I was like, that makes sense. Never thought of it like that. Because I'm like, well, Christmas is a much bigger holiday than Thanksgiving.
But Christmas ends it.
Right. Because people don't think about New Year's that way. But Thanksgiving kicks it off, and there's all these holiday festivities. You've got parties, work parties, family parties, potlucks, whatever's happening in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then it's over in a rush, right?
Yeah.
So it does make sense to me now, and I wonder how many people dread one over the other if they're both pretty equal for most people in their minds, right? Because I kind of dread them both.
Well,
I
and
used to
that,
say Thanksgiving is the priority, right? Like I love Thanksgiving over Christmas.
but it's kind of funny you bring up the word dread because 45% say that they dread the holidays due to grief, the National Alliance for Children's Grief.
I love that they use the word dread, right? They're like,
Yeah.
we dread it.
Well, and it's like, because it's the anticipation of like, is somebody going to bring it up? Is somebody going to ask you about it? Because I always think about like widows or widowers during this.
Yeah,
Because is somebody going to ask you, oh, how are you doing this? Because like those are the times when people check back in after that
yeah.
first or second year. They're checking back in just for the holidays, not any other part of the year, the holidays specifically. They
Don't
get,
bother.
yeah, they're getting re-asked the questions. So it's
Yeah.
always bringing it back up during this specific time of the year.
Yeah, you think of, widows or widowers. I'm thinking of people who've lost children too, because
Yeah.
that was always like the people say, oh, Christmas is all about the kids. But if you don't have that one kid anymore, or maybe that was your only child, that's got to be a really hard time of the year
But
too.
it's also the time that people bring it up the most to these people.
I also feel like maybe this is where we keep bringing this up. Oh, we keep bringing it up, but maybe we should stop bringing it up, right?
And it's not that you're
Hey,
trying to dishonor anybody by not bringing it up, but I don't think we think about the effects that it's having on them.
mhm,
Like, can we honor them still without just asking the question, how are you doing again this season
right.
without your person? Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely better ways to check in on somebody without bringing it up directly and sending them right back into those feelings of like hardcore grief,
Because
and
they are
re-traumatizing.
aware. Yeah, no, they're aware. They're so abundantly aware.
They live with it every day. They're more aware of it than everybody else around them. And especially more so during holidays.
think the question that needs to be asked to the people that's asking that question, is that question for you or is it for them?
Right. Yep. Why am I asking this? Yep. Because I think a lot of people only ask about things like that because they're nosy. I hate to say it that way in such like a, I mean, but they're nosy. Like when someone passes away and they go to check in, they're really kind of just being nosy about the details and stuff that, and maybe some people really do care, but I think they are just being nosy and it's more for them than it is for the person that they're asking. So I do think you're absolutely right. It is more for them.
1 in 5 Americans is experiencing grief severe enough to impact daily functioning at any given time. That's the CDC data on bereavement impact, grief and related impairment. 1 in 5.
That's
That's a huge number.
it is 1 in 5. Is
Yeah, that's 1 in 5
this is
Americans.
worldwide?
Yeah,
Oh,
this is for the
Americans or
United States. So 1 in 5. That's still a huge number.
it is actually kind of thought it would be higher, but I believe that. I believe that. You and I see plenty of people that still reel from it all the time. Severe enough to impact daily functioning. So not even just in the holidays. So you can imagine if it's impacting their daily functioning throughout the year, how hard it is for them during the holidays to even function. They're not functioning at all, at all. So if you don't hear from your people over the holidays, maybe it is good to check in on them too.
Check in on them, but not necessarily, I think, in the ways that have been.
No,
I love this next one because, like, this was something that.
we talked about before we even, yeah.
Okay, we're going to debunking a huge myth. Suicide rates increase during the holidays, Brittany.
I thought this was true when we talked about this, and I was actually shocked. So I was kind of part of this population that believed this was true. Because it's darker. We talked about that in the last episode.
Mhm.
Seasonal depression, people are getting more depressed, suicide rates increase during the holidays. This is a myth. This is
It's,
actually
yeah,
not true.
December actually has one of the lowest suicide rates of the year per the CDC National Center for Health and Statistics. The highest suicide rates occur in the spring and early summer, not during the holidays. Media actually pushes this myth, contributing to misinformation and stigma. And I think it is because, like, it's the holidays and there is the profound grief that we see and we hear and we feel, but it does not necessarily lead to ideation with intent.
Yeah. I also think the togetherness, like even though people dread it and they don't want to do it and they're feeling a lot of those internal experiences of grief, like being surrounded by people and seeing other people feel joy, even though it's probably not a great feeling, that probably staves off a lot of that, which probably is why the suicide rate then kicks up in the spring and summer because all that togetherness and checking in then disappears.
Yeah. So check on people. Let's do it appropriately. Don't be that person constantly asking, how do you feel about the person you lost? Just how are you? Ask about the person, not the person necessarily that has passed.
How are you? What have you been up to? You know, how's work? Like, how about we just have a regular conversation than trying to bring up all these really difficult emotions for people? Like any conversation you'd have with them before that. Because I think for some people who've lost someone significant, like I think of a spouse or a parent or a child, like there's that dividing line where everything that happened before that and after that. So talk to them just like you would before that.
It's just because
Because they're
yeah, just because suicide doesn't rise doesn't mean distress doesn't.
right.
That's
That
the
trends all year
misconception.
long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the misconception. Distress
Yeah.
has gone up because yank.
Because remember, what was it? 45% dread it? Dread
Mhm.
the holidays.
Yeah,
They dread it.
because increase in depressive symptoms, loneliness, emotional exhaustion during the holidays.
60% increase, report increased stress during the holiday season. I feel like that's low.
Well, because
60%.
yeah, but like it's the way I think different people handle the stress. Like I love Christmas stress. I want to go shopping. I want to do all of these things. Like, but I finished all mine though because this is like spicy brain heaven right now. I love
No,
it.
what you're really saying is that you're the 40% that isn't stressed because Josh is the 60% that is stressed because you made him drive you an hour to the store yesterday.
No, he's not, but he's not stressed because I did all the shopping. I
Mm-hmm.
did all the Christmas list. I took care of it all. He didn't have to do a darn thing because I sat there and made a list. and, I mean, like, what does everybody want? How do I make this? How do I go here? I did all of this the entire month. He didn't have to do nothing.
So actually, the 40% that are not stressed about Christmas are the spicy people with spicy brains that plan for it months in advance, and the rest of us are
Living on
the neuro
hopes, prayers, and dreams. Yeah.
the neurodivergent, neurotypical people, like the ADHDers
Sorry.
and the non-ADHD, non-autistic people. That makes sense. That lines up.
Look, I already have everything wrapped.
Yeah. And then also the people that are dealing with grief. So we're all kind of lumped into that 60%. And the other 40% are people who are just on the spectrum.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's okay. Right. Well, I was just trying to sort that out because I was like, 60% feels low. Right. Like, I feel like maybe it should be somewhere around like 80. Three
Look,
in five
I'm
Americans feel pressured to be happy. 100%.
yes. Yeah. I'm just
Five
Buddy
out of
the elf in a different font, okay?
I hate that movie so
I do too.
I watched it until I got to the part where he was eating the spaghetti with the syrup on it, and then I was like, I'm all done. I gotta turn this off. Pressure to be happy. That increases my stress level from the previous statistic.
Yeah, because
Okay.
why can't you just sit on your couch and read a book and everybody leave you alone?
I am happy doing that. Why do we have to be pressured to do other things that make other people happy?
Hmm.
Here's
Because
a thought: do what makes you happy this holiday season.
or like the everybody that has to do the family triangles and go 5 different places and all of these families. Maybe
Uh,
sometimes you just need to rein it in a little bit and decide what's best for you and your family.
I look back on my childhood and how my parents used to run themselves ragged to like please other people.
Hmm.
We would go to two Thanksgivings, like at noon and then again at like 5. And then on Christmas Day, we were at like 4 different places. And by the end of the day, we were done. And I was like, this is unhinged. I don't, it's too much. It's too much. You can't, you are human. You guys are not robots. Something's got to give. Something has got to give, especially if you're struggling with depression and loneliness and exhaustion, emotional and physical exhaustion, and you're trying to do the most for you and your family. Maybe it's time to make your own traditions and stop doing that. Well, you said triangle. Some families are more like squares or octagons or whatever you're doing. When you've got your own stuff, it becomes too much.
I don't know about you, but I saw all of these reactions this week in so many people. I was like,
Yes.
everybody's cranky, everybody needs a Prozac or a Xanax or something. And I mean,
I
I
don't know
could
that I
have,
saw them this week. I think I saw them more last week because
oof,
I didn't see that many people this past week, but I saw
I did. And
everybody last week.
I wanted to, like, here's a Xanax for you, and here's a Xanax for you, and you get a Xanax, and you get a Xanax.
Tell me, I wonder, are you taking your medicine normally? How's your meds working? When's the last time you saw Sabine?
Because this is what I knew. It was Thanksgiving week,
Yeah.
and I went, yep, yep. Everybody, we got the heightened reactions. That is the holidays,
Yep.
and it
I have a
is,
couple that are struggling with grief right now, but
yeah.
and I saw them the week before Thanksgiving, so the last week, and they were actually not, and I don't know if they were like the emotional numbing place because they weren't really showing a lot of this, but they were just like, no, I'm fine. This is fine. And I was like, didn't seem like they were fine, but I
We
think they
have,
were very much overcompensating in this way,
yeah.
like much like you do.
because we have like the heightened sadness and the
Hmm.
mood swings going. Sleep is
Non-existent.
mm-mm, not even.
Non-existent or too much, I
Mm-hmm.
think, for a lot too, if they can get away with it.
Yep. Increased irritability, just
Hmm.
emotional flooding. Like all the boxes come down and they don't know where how to, like put it back up.
I feel like if you go to somebody's house, like, they're the ones hosting like Thanksgiving dinner and they're just like, right, ping pong ball all over the place. You're like, you know, they don't even sit down to eat, right? Like they're just doing this like crazy host thing. It's like, what you got going on internally, right? I don't know that I ever noticed that when I was younger, when I was a kid, but now as a therapist, you kind of just sit back and people watch and you're like, I see you, sis, right? Like what's happening internally for you? Why are you doing this? Like it's this total emotional numbing experience, I think, for people that do that. I see it in a whole new perspective. And
Oh
now
yeah.
you guys will too.
Oh yeah. No, what was it? There was a funny meme that was like, everything's so expensive this year, everybody's getting a diagnosis for Christmas.
Yeah. I'll give those out for free. Only that though. That's easy.
But like we can see the guilt and the increased ruminations going on. It's so and it's not it's guilt that doesn't belong and we know it.
Yeah. Well, the guilt, you said guilt, regret, there's that also the shame. Like it's shame for some if there's suicide associated with it that doesn't necessarily belong, but there's that stigma that surrounds it. Um, that isolation pulling away from the social gatherings and you know.
I mean, because you can see it in especially some of the older folk, that battery or mine, like it runs out and I start like, it's time to go
Uh-huh.
sit on the couch.
You can watch
It's
it.
time to.
You can watch someone's battery like disappear so fast. Like some it's like a slow burn, but I think for like me and Tim it's like a light switch, right? My dad's the same way, like yesterday at my sister's. We're all just sitting there, we're talking, and then all of a sudden, like I felt like all three of us at the same time, our switches went off. And my dad's like, "Well, we're getting ready to go," and I felt it immediately. I was like, "Yeah, we were literally just feeling it at the same time that we were all just like leaving." It's like done. We're done. It's time
Because
to go.
I can give my battery longer 1 to 1, but ooh, when the
Hmm.
big family gatherings there, and I'm like, I'm dead.
Yep.
Because like my dad left like 3 hours before we did because he went by, battery's done.
And then on the way home, the car's like dead silent, right?
Hmm.
On the way there, everybody's like chatty. You're playing music. It's kind of like chill. On the way home, everyone's like dead silent. You hear a pin drop because everybody's social battery is dead.
Or because like the teenager's battery hasn't run out yet, or because he didn't use his at the beginning, then he's like, I'm gonna challenge everybody to the battle of the wits. And I'm like, and this is where you get murdered.
Yeah.
Because
Hey, where's your gaming stuff? Could you like maybe do something in the back seat?
mm,
I'll just crank up the music that I know nobody likes, and I'm driving, so they're not going to say anything. So I'm like, shh,
mm-hmm.
we don't speak now, okay? So we already talked about the anniversary symptoms,
Yeah.
sort of, or like the dread of it, but also is this shock-like emotions, the reactivation of early grief? I mean, anniversaries will cause that, right? Like you'll return back to that early stage. Normally, you'd go back, to like not re-experiencing that. And if you're not, then we're talking about something a little bit more intense or prolonged. But I think we're getting into that next, right?
Yeah, let's go into the actual like types of grief. Pretty relevant to holiday stress. Like
Yeah.
acute grief. It's early, intense, and unpredictable.
Yeah. Well, acute grief is like the grief that you experience immediately after, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
we just mentioned a second ago, when you go through like anniversary or birthday or even the holidays, that will then kind of send you back into the early stages of it. You see the decreased losses of functioning, intrusive thoughts, feeling sad or confused. Like you can cycle through acute grief over and over and over again, right? So when people always say everybody grieves differently, or, healing isn't linear, grief's not linear. All those things are true when it comes to grief, because in total there are like 11 different types of grief. And depending on how someone died or your experience with it, you could be grieving in a completely different way than someone else is in
Yeah.
terms of the way that they have experienced that death. So everyone pretty much experiences acute grief and the way they cycle in and out of it, depending on their situation.
And
Complicated,
oof.
prolonged grief, you have way more experience with than I do in terms of like clinically speaking.
Yeah. Dealing,
Um,
and that is dealing with like widows and widowers
mhm.
and even those that have lost children. And because they go in and out a whole lot, but they tend to stay in and have more of those moments. And it's letting them know too, it's okay to have these moments and often, but it's learning how to not live in it all the time.
Mhm. It's
And
also like yearning for the person that's
yeah,
gone, right? Like it's like it feels very PTSD-ish, like in terms of like the
it
death, the
is.
loss of someone. But like the difference, I think, when we talked about it before, was that there was like that yearning and obsessive dwelling on like the person that had died for them to still be here.
And
Isn't there
kids
also
get
like
this too.
yeah, isn't there also like a refusal of acceptance, or like that the person has passed away?
It's like a year long, and it's not that it's a
Yeah,
refusal, but like there, it's beyond what we considered like typical grieving.
right. Kind of like a
Um,
lack of acceptance, or like a
yeah,
difficulty accepting. I don't have
difficulty.
the criteria in front of me,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
Anticipate,
that's very much prolonged.
yeah, and then anticipatory. I think a lot of us do get into this stage as our parents get older, or our grandparents and everything. When we see aging people in decline, or you have a sick child,
Yep,
when we know it's like end of stage care in life,
yep.
and like there's a pre-grieving happening.
Yeah, and I think this is a kind of another myth, and well, it is actually a myth that like, it's easier to deal with the death of someone that you knew was coming, right? This anticipatory grief of the grieving someone that's still alive, that you can do the grieving before they die. And it's actually not
Mhm.
true. There was a Swiss study, I can't cite it. You can go look it up, right? That they cited during the training I did for the grief and bereavement, where they surveyed a bunch of widows and widowers, and they actually said that it was harder because they knew it was coming. It's not the actual loss of the primary loss of the person, it was the anticipation of the death, and then the losses, the secondary losses after. So, like, my husband or wife is not going to be here to see their potential grandchildren, or, see them get married, or their children get married, or their children graduate. It was all of that that made it worse for them in like at the end of the day, right? So yeah, or like having someone with Alzheimer's or dementia and just watching them decline. Like, they're still alive, but they're not that person anymore. So yeah, that's every year is another year that you're with them, but you've also lost them. So it is that very rough and ragged and draining anticipatory grief that you're dealing with day after day.
Disenfranchised grief, and this one sucks because like this is the
Hmm.
most, I think, underrated one, and it
Yep.
is grief not validated by others. This is having pets die, your ex-partner, just people that we typically like. It's a death that's more or less shamed.
Yeah. Yeah, suicide falls under this one a lot, I think,
Uh-huh.
for people, especially, not to throw shade, that are super religious, or there's a shame attached to suicide. They're still kind of working with that stigma. That death is then, it's disenfranchised grief, because it's like, well, you can't talk about it, right? We kind of don't acknowledge it. Yes, that person died, but we don't get to sit with it. There's no emotions. It's like, okay, we're going to sweep that under the rug, right? So whatever grief you feel about that person dying now is like, it's minimized. There's no acknowledgement. You're not allowed to talk about it anymore, right? I was talking about disenfranchised grief in terms of like, the other day or a couple weeks ago, about my kids when it came to my mother-in-law. because Kylie is very vocal about how she feels and how much she misses her and how much she remembers. But we were never able to figure out how much Sawyer could remember because he's nonverbal. But, I think I made a post about it on Facebook, how he pulled her photo off the wall and was typing out, her name on his tablet, which was really weird to me because he hasn't done that at all in the 2 or 3 years since she died. So, maybe we disenfranchise his grief a little bit unknowingly because we really didn't know. But I think kids on the spectrum, even kids in general, they just, they're kids, they don't understand, or, kids are the R word. And I do mean resilient, which makes me want to throw up. They're not. They feel it just like we do. We just pretend like they don't.
And like especially the disenfranchised grief, like because it is not talked about once they get older, like especially if it happened when they were little, and like it's the shamed death forever.
Yep, yep.
Because like this was Josh's aunt, she died by suicide
Mm-hmm.
during the holidays.
Yep.
When Riley was like 4 and Lucas was 8. So like they have a concept of who she is, but for her, like she's always been around. She's always been that person. But once it happened, like then everybody
Hush.
can't talk about how it happened, why it happened, not that she was bipolar. And, this is, what led to it, essentially.
Right. It almost feels like that dirty little secret,
Because she
right?
was highly religious, and it's like we can
Mm-hmm.
still be all of those things, yet this can still happen.
Yeah, and I think in terms of that, you can be highly religious and still have bipolar disorder and
Mhm.
still get to the point where you commit suicide because you're mentally ill, right? Like
And it was
you're
a
you're
hard,
mentally ill, you're
yeah,
mentally
that was a
ill.
hard, and that's where that grief stayed, and it's stuck, and it's still kind of in that stuck. We can somewhat talk about it, but somewhat not.
Right. Well, it was never validated. It was never acknowledged. There was
Yeah.
never a process to like sit and talk it out and feel it. So it's just buried in there and just
Hmm.
put in the back corner, right?
Yeah.
This one's really hard, I think, for me and for a lot of people too, just because I think we've all at some point experienced something
Hmm.
of this nature in terms of grief or a loss, generally speaking, in any case. It doesn't have to be someone who died, but like maybe you went through a divorce,
Or
or any type of
or
situation like that. That was
or
hard for you that everybody's like, you're fine, you're fine.
or they were going to get into the one that I think has hit you probably the hardest is the cumulative grief. I think there was
Yes.
what was the trash dumpster fire year where
2023. I have a certificate over here that it was most likely to survive. 2023 was like the worst, one of the worst years in terms of like deaths. But that, I'm not trying to like too much my life has been like that. Like starting at age 5, people have been dropping like flies around me and my family, right? But that year, 2023, started out with a bang of deaths back to back to back to back. And it got to the point where I was like, is this real life? Are my patients going to start thinking that I'm like making this up? Because it just felt like every time I turned around, I was like, I'm gonna be out for a few days because I've had another death in my family. And I was like,
it
I
was
feel
like
like I'm
every other month.
right. Like Tim's great grandmother passed away like February or March, and then my grandmother passed away in May, Tim's mom in June, my grandfather in August, like, and then Erica's fiance died in like November. It was just like, oh my gosh, right? When will this year ever end? Truly. I've had a year or so reprieve, so we're knocking on some wood here. Well, I mean, my dad's aunt passed away this year, but like, that's it. I feel like at some point we're running out of people. You feel me? Like what? But yeah, that year was. I
Rough.
think I bought a funeral dress at the beginning of the year for the first one, and I was like, well, I got my money's worth out of it. And I don't mean to sound morbid, right? But also, most people buy a funeral dress and they wear it once, and then the next time they need it, they got to buy another one because they've grown out of it. And I just wore the same one like 4 times, in 1 year. So I have a patient who did that last, was it that might have been this year? I think by like February, like the end of February, he had been to like 5 funerals. And I was like, I mean, I kind of felt bad for myself in 2023, but we're only in February and you've been to five. That's a lot. They weren't family, but they weren't all family, but they were a lot of people. So the cumulative grief is hard
Much.
because it doesn't matter. And this, it's like it's multiple losses in a short period of time. And I don't know by short period, they mean like a couple of days or a week or two, but like from my timeline, it was just like a month here, 2 months there, 3 months there. If you think about how long it takes you to, I'm going to say recover or like move out of that period of acute grief, depending on who they were to you, by the time you move out of that stage and you can finally breathe again, boom, you're hit with another loss. And so now you're feeling the loss you just had and now the one that just occurred on top of each other. Okay, cool. I'm going to take some time and then try to move past these two. And then boom, you're hit with another one. Even if it's just a year, right? A year between them or two. For some people, that is too much. And then you have like 3 or 4 in 1 year. It's like, how are you not crippled by that?
And we have our veterans, our police officers, kiddos.
Yes. The veterans, in terms of that, the trauma that I say trauma, not trauma,
Well, it's not
grief.
just, yeah. Well, I can attest to this because, like, look, we miss holidays. We grieve for our
Yes.
families because we don't always get to spend our time with them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guilt and that shame that goes into it because we're not around or we're shamed for not being able to come home.
Yeah.
Our
Well,
spouse,
not shamed by their spouses, but shamed by their
no,
families. Yeah.
families. And then for those that when they lose shipmates or, soldiers, there's a lot of survivor's guilt with them,
Hmm.
especially around the holidays of like the person that should still be there in their unit.
Yeah. Yep. And I think, and that's kind of like they have like this very collective grief that happens. If you got like people that are killed in the line of duty, right? Or someone commits suicide, but it brings them all together, right? So they had this very collective grief that's happening for them. And then the way that they work over the holidays, Tim said that yesterday because my brother-in-law was working for Thanksgiving. My sister was there, but they always work the holidays usually. If both one or the other, if not both. And I'm like, that has to suck, right? To have to work every single holiday. But hey, if you have to call 911 on Thanksgiving or Christmas and know that like my sister is going to be the one to pick up the call, and if your house is on fire, that my brother-in-law is going to be the one to come put your house out, you kind of expect that to happen. And I'll be like, oh, well, it's Thanksgiving, so sorry, emergency services aren't available,
Yeah.
right? Like they're
But
the
for,
ones that you expect to be there.
yeah, but it's so many missed holidays. It's
It
so many
is.
missed experiences with their own kids or their
Yeah,
own families.
true. It truly is, right? It stinks. Could you have it on other days? Sure, but that's not the point, right? The point is that like
We
they miss
always
out.
we always swapped out like my husband would take Christmas like he would get Christmas home with us and he's like, I will take New Year's, y'all go drink, all the single people.
Yeah, I don't care about New Year's.
So
I'm
he
like,
did
I'll work New Year's. I don't
yeah,
care.
that's what he did. He was like, I don't care. He's like, just let me be home with my kid. I'll take whatever duty you want.
Also, when you talk about the people who like don't care about Thanksgiving and Christmas, but are like New Year's is my jam, and I'm like,
Those were the singles. Those were always the
yeah, I guess that's
singles.
true. Yeah, singles. Like we're
They
gonna
were
go
like,
party on New Year's.
uh-huh.
Like New Year's is like the event of the year for them, but it's also the start of the New Year. So does it even count? I don't know. That's another
Look,
topic.
they
But
took Blackout Wednesday and New Year's.
yes, yes. For kids, I think you know, is it changes in routine? Yeah, like in terms of I don't know if it's so much in grief, but like changes in routine, especially for Sawyer. For I think for kids like Kylie, it's like we're in school, we're out of school, we're in school, we're out of school. It's like this constant change back and forth. Um, and then for her, she remembers that like her grandmother came and stayed for this day or that day, or she was here for this or she was here for that, and she's constantly bringing it up. So I do think it throws her back into that, and that like let's not let's not invalidate it. Let's acknowledge it, right? And let's circle back to that disenfranchised thing. It sucks for kids too, in some way. Like, even though they're excited for Thanksgiving, they're still thinking about the people that should be here too.
Caregivers. Very anticipatory grief or burnout, because again, and what I mean by caregivers, okay, not just caring for like elderly. If you have a kid that has high needs too, you
That's why I
get
stay silent.
you get caregiver burnout. You, it is a thing. Okay, you can be a caregiver and a mom, or a caregiver and a dad. You can be both.
Yeah.
And there is such burnout, and it's knowing, okay, I gotta attend all of the school functions and all of the school parties and do all of these extra things with my kid, but I have to work and I have to do all of these other things too, and make sure that I'm there for my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then also they need all of this extra help outside of the house too. Parents are burnt out.
Yeah. It's also like the burnout. Yes, the burnout's always there. It's even worse during the holidays. And then there's that loss, not so much grief and loss, for two reasons. And you can attest to this, I'm sure. The loss of like, well, I can't attend these events because of the way my child is. And then I have to chase him around and intercept everything he's doing. Then I feel like we're not welcome. Like, there's all this like loss to that. And then grief that like, my kid's not like other kids. Does my kid experience things the way others do? And so there very much is both. And then at the end of the day, you're there for a couple of hours, you're burnt out. Everybody else is sitting back, chilling, cooling their heels, and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to keep your autistic child from hurting himself or burning the house down.
It is okay, parents, to grieve what we thought was going to happen. Don't grieve your kid. They're alive. They're human.
Yeah.
They're a person. And like, it's kind of funny when parents do that. I'm like, but they're alive.
Right. You
They're
can
good.
grieve what could have been in terms of like them.
Those are two separate things. Grief, you're allowed to grieve for yourself.
Yeah.
And what you wanted, and like an anticipation of like life. And
also because
out on
society
is
not nice to our kids.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't understand our kids. And I think that's probably where it originates from, is that like, if society was all accepting and all inclusive and like everybody understood our kids the way that we do, I don't think that would be so prominent, but it is, because they don't. And so you're the one trying to force them to understand and advocating for them nonstop, right? It's like, hi, please don't leave a Sharpie there because my child's going to scribble all over your wall, or let's not leave this open on the counter. And they're into everything, literally everything, aside from all the other tantrums and meltdowns and being overstimulated and all of that. And it's even worse during the holidays because we're surrounded by non-sensory friendly things. So yes, caregiver burnout is huge, all while we're dealing with our own emotions of being the Grinch and the Scrooge and not wanting to deal with the holidays, while Peggy's overcompensating for things to deal with her own shit. Maybe I've got it all wrong. Maybe I just need to start hardcore overcompensating to see if that feels better than being the Grinch. Maybe I need to try on the other hat and see if that fits better. So yeah, those who experience traumatic loss, we've talked about that off and on throughout this entire episode too, that holidays can re-trigger trauma responses and those intrusive memories and difficult emotions. So now we want to talk about some ways that you can manage all this really difficult stuff we've brought up to also trigger you to think about it too. Okay. Create new traditions. I already said that a couple of times, haven't I? Create new traditions. I love that for you. Do it. Give yourself permission to opt out. Like, if you don't want to go, say no. I did that this year. I was like, I thought, I didn't think it was going to call a bluff. I was like, I will not be going if this is what we're going to do. My mom was like, bet. And then she planned exactly the expectation I set. And I was like, well, dang, now I have to go. Yeah. Be careful. Do better than I did. make sure your expectations are far beyond theirs so they can't meet it, okay? Plan
Plan,
ahead.
set boundaries about events. Here's the thing, boundaries must be communicated, they cannot be silent.
Yep. And make sure that like they're, I don't know, people say, we say set boundaries. Make sure that they're like, when we talked about boundaries before, right? Like they can't be like, oh, I'm drawing my line in the sand, blah blah blah, right? Like they need to be like healthy boundaries in terms of like protecting yourself and not punishment either, right? Like let's be good with our boundaries in terms of this, right? Incorporate your decreased rituals. Incorporate the deceased in rituals. Oh my gosh, words. Memory candles, sharing stories, cooking their favorite dish. Like I make my mother-in-law's never her pretzel salad. Hey, if you guys have tips on pretzel salad, drop it, comment, send it to her because I can't seem to make that work.
Ask for specific support.
Yes, yes.
I know it's
Um,
gross asking for help.
I won't be
It's
doing
so
that,
gross.
but yeah. But you guys should. You guys should. Peggy and I and Christina all ask for support in our own different ways, and it's never like, "Hey, I need help," or "Hey, I'm not okay." We kind of have to force each other to say it, but that's how we operate.
Kind
You
of
should
like,
all you should ask for support.
I have the saddies make me feel better.
Yeah, remember, baddies get saddies. It's okay. You guys should just ask for support. Hey, I'm not okay today, or I'm unwell. Either one of those things work really well without you having to admit that you're actually sad.
This one kind of
Balance.
sucks. Yeah, balance
Yeah. Yep.
solitude and connection intentionally because, like, here's the thing. I know I need to go people. I don't like to people.
Mm-mm. I don't really know why I don't like to people so much right now, and that's I would rather be in solitude. Can I be in solitude while connecting intentionally? Can we find that balance? Maybe.
Do you want to?
If I don't know. If you guys find it first, let us know because I feel like maybe someone out there has the answer of like where that falls.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you just go to an event and then leave very early. Like that was the plan. Like hey, we're gonna go and we're leaving at this time. Or you have a signal with your husband, like you and Josh, like we're gonna go, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this is bananas. Boom, that's the signal. Okay, time to go. Let's go. Right? Like maybe it's just a time frame, right? Like you have a time limit. Seek professional support
Therapy
if
is
functioning depends.
never not a bad answer.
Therapy, I
Like, just
it's not
go.
gonna hurt you. Just
Not,
go,
yeah.
right? Like therapy's cool, okay? Like let's do it. We are, I say we are fun individuals. Therapy can be fun too, in terms of like, you're gonna get better. It's gonna be good for you. And like, maybe the holidays don't have to feel like shit for the rest of your life. Maybe you can have fun for yourself and your kids. And you don't have to be so miserable.
There you go. All right, how to
It's not gonna hurt you.
support someone when they're grieving during the holidays.
Validate their experience and avoid toxic positivity. Ugh.
If you would just think positive, it will feel so much better. Have you prayed?
You just sent a full trauma response to my body. I felt like the air got kicked out of my chest. How about you just don't feel depressed? Like, have you tried just not feeling sad about? They're in heaven. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what you believe. And maybe that's what helps you move forward. And I love that for you. But not everybody believes that. Not everybody believes that
Sometimes
prayer
your
makes things better.
sometimes your well intentions might make someone want to punch you too.
And even if they do believe in those things, it still doesn't make it any better for them that they are here without their person, right? Toxic positivity is like the worst thing ever. Stop.
Offer
I'm
concrete
so,
and offer concrete support instead. I can help
Mhm.
you with rather
Or
than
what
the.
can I help you with?
Mhm.
What can I do for you? Is there
Do,
anything I can do?
yeah. Do you need help?
Hmm. Understand that grief responses fluctuate day to day. Like circling back to everybody grieves differently, moving in and out of those phases of acute grief. Maybe at Thanksgiving, they were not a fun person to be around. And maybe at Christmas they are elf, right? So you can't, oh, they were so grumpy at Thanksgiving and now they're elf. Yeah, because that's a really painful time for them. And by Christmas, it feels much better.
Respect if they need to cancel or if they just need space.
Right. Let's not pressure them or make them feel guilty or manipulate them into attending events to take care of themselves because that's not cool.
Mhm.
It's
But
actually rude.
when do we need to be concerned?
When they are feeling more hopeless, because hopeless is one of the main characteristics of people that are suicidal. Even though we debunk that myth, but also that doesn't mean people don't commit suicide during this time of year.
A significant withdrawal from all social supports. Like they're cutting everybody off.
And maybe we need to clarify, like, not just people are like, taking time for themselves, right? Or setting some boundaries on like when they're not like when you are silent over the weekend, right? Like, I'm not worried about you during that time because I know that that's your boundary, right? This is like a pure cutoff. They are not talking to people. They are non-responsive. You're going over there trying to check on those people and they're not answering the door. Like, that is when you should be concerned, not just when they've kind of shut off the world to kind of have some time for themselves. I think that's what we're talking about, and people have completely shut off
Yeah.
in all forms socially.
Inability to complete daily tasks for weeks. Like they stop showering, they stop doing all of their ADLs. We're not changing clothes. We're
They're
not
not
doing
eating,
eating.
drinking, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Their hair is all matted. They're not brushing their teeth. They're not taking their medicines, cleaning their house, anything. Not that they should be cleaning, but like you walk in and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Everything's okay and nothing's okay. They're not okay.
Expressions of suicidal thoughts. Even though suicide rates are lower in December, ideation can still rise individually.
Yep.
If
Yep.
they say something, yo, homie, let's go get some help.
The majority of the people who actually commit suicide have communicated it to someone around them in the days or weeks before that they commit suicide in some way, shape, or form. Probably not in like this very directive of like, I want to kill myself or I want to die, but they have like inadvertently said to someone that they were wanting to die or kill themselves. So be cognizant of what people are saying. So it is normal. Okay. What I feel about the holidays is normal. See, we just went through a whole list of things. I'm validating that for myself and for other people.
What I do is normal.
It is. It is normal. And this is our spectrum, right? It's normal for me. It's normal for Peggy. Whether you are a Grinch or a Scrooge or you overcompensate like a Martha May Whovier over here, we're both normal and we both validate your experiences, right? Maybe if you want to feel better about that, you should go talk to somebody, okay? If not, you can sit with it and deal with it and find ways through it and get people to support you through this holiday season. Also, like we said earlier, grief is different
Non-linear.
for everybody here. It's not linear. Healing isn't linear. I feel like Christina will cringe a little bit every time I say that while she's editing this. I actually have a pillow that says that healing is not linear. One of my patients picked it up one day and she was like she was a female veteran. She picked it up, she looked at it, and she just like tossed it back to her. I was like, rude? It's not. It's true, right? People move through all these stages and phases in different ways and out of order, okay?
Honor the
Self-care is so important.
season. Honor the season in a way that feels emotionally safe.
Yes. Yes. And right for
Whatever
you.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. If that means that you're doing self-care and you're not doing anything but stuff for yourself, then
Do
let's
you,
do
boo
it.
boo?
Do you, right? Just for you and your kids and your spouse, like, why not? Because at the end of the holiday season and things kick back up again, you're going to thank yourself for not running yourself ragged over the holiday season and care of yourself during it, because that's why people stay sick and that's why we're also burnt out all the time. So yeah, thank you for watching or listening or however you're manifesting our podcast. Please like, share, and follow all of us, all of our ways, okay? Wherever you're streaming this from in the universe, please like, share, and follow, because I don't understand how we can have like 63 views on our videos and one single like. Why are you guys watching and then not clicking the like button? Okay,
More importantly, subscribe.
that too, but I feel like we need to take it one step at a time. They're still watching it, but they're not liking it. If I'm asking them to like and subscribe, they still can't follow that direction. So the math is not mathing. Okay, watch it, like it, subscribe if you can remember. If you can't, you can feel free to play this back for the direction. Okay, we thank you for your support. We'll see you on the next one. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm not sure when this one's going to air, but I guess it'll be closer to December. So we'll have another episode after that one, but by then it'll be Christmas. So happy holidays, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. We want to thank you for tuning into this episode of Holding the Line with Got Your Six, where we are just a bunch of therapists who talk about the shit nobody wants to talk about. We hope you got something useful out of it. Stay tuned for more of our upcoming episodes every other week posted to our YouTube channel, Holding the Line GYS. If you want to help support our podcast, please like this video and subscribe to our channel and share this video with others you think may get something useful out of it. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we will post useful information, dark humor, and more of the shit nobody wants to talk about. Go forth and do magical shit, everyone. I also love that we're both wearing pink. And now I kind of feel bad for like saying that in the beginning during my trigger warning, but I feel like people understand that is who we are. Cause like, as I was saying it and I looked at my shirt, I looked at yours and I was like, damn, we're both wearing pink today.
It's okay. Your squirrel brain just does what it wants at this point. I'm like, meh.
Right. I don't know. I was just like, oh, this is our trigger warning. I felt like last night I maybe should have wrote it down and then I forgot. So I was like, it's cool. I'm just going to wing it. I wing everything else. Why not this too? So our pink shirt's definitely distracting me. We couldn't have planned that any better. So, you know, we got home last night from Thanksgiving and I was like in my brain thinking about the Christmas tree. Landon comes upstairs and he's like, when are we going to put the Christmas tree up? I was like, we just got home from Thanksgiving and now you're asking me to put the tree.
Considering when you put that tree up last year, I'm assuming 4 days before Christmas.
I did put it up really late last year. I usually don't wait that long. This year, I feel like I'm going to be forced to put it up this weekend, which I don't love. But
I feel like
next
it won't
week,
get done this weekend.
I don't want to put it up this weekend. Because that means I got to drag it out. It's like, and nobody helps me. Like, it's like they want the tree up, but they don't want to help me put the tree up. Like, Landon and Timothy will help me bring it down because I can't do it on my own. But that's it. Like, they'll help me bring it down and they just go. And I'm like, then I have to put it up on my own, which is so boring, right? Like, when I was a kid, we put the tree up. It was like a family affair, right?
Yeah, and that's what we did. Like, we had, we put everything up because they know mommy's going to go nuts until it all gets put up. Like, Josh went up into that attic November 1st, got everything down for me, because if not, I was going to yell at him for the entire day.
See, I would love to be one of those people because I've got fall stuff and Halloween stuff and Christmas stuff, right?
Tree, snowman, my nightmare before Christmas.
Nope. And like, it's unhinged because like, then it's like, well, do you put up Halloween stuff in September and then fall stuff from Halloween?
I'm not a Halloween person though.
I'm not a Halloween person either. Christina's gonna watch this and say we're saying Halloween. She's gonna be upset. So I'm like, so do you just put up fall stuff? Do you put up Halloween stuff? Do you just jump right into Christmas? Like,
I just jump.
It's too much. It's too much work.
That's why I celebrated for 2 months, because why not?
I'll put up a fall wreath. I didn't even do that this year. I'll put up a fall wreath and then I'll put up a Christmas wreath. I'll put up my Christmas tree. I have a nativity scene, and I put that up because it was BJ's, and it's a willow tree thing, and I love the willow tree stuff. So I put that up, and that's it.
I got an 8-foot tree out there.
8 feet, Peggy? My aunt has a 10-foot tree. She got these high voltage ceilings. She put that thing up every year, and it was like she would invite everybody over to come put her tree up because she would put an ornament on like every branch, and I was like, this is too much. Like, It was too much. Maybe that's another reason why I dread it, because I'm like, no. And so when I put my tree up, I put minimal. I'll put it up. I put little pieces of
Seen
burlap. I put my angel on.
last year when I had my knee surgery and how hard it was to get around and decorate.
It's so much work because then you got to take it down.
I
No.
because that everything goes up December 31st because it's not allowed to be up for New Year's.
Why not?
Not allowed to be.
A lot of people keep
The-
theirs up through the
no,
new year.
the house must be spotless New Year's Day.
Oh my gosh. Is that some kind of like superstition?
Both autism and
Oh my
superstition.
God.
The house must be spotless for New.
But you don't clean on New Year's. Christina told me last year you're not allowed to wash clothes on New Year's Day.
But everything must be put up December 31st. The tree is not allowed to be up. Nothing.
That's wild. I think I didn't take my tree. I was forced to leave my tree up until, well, because I only put it up a couple days before Christmas. I was forced to leave my tree up to like the second week of January last week. No, January 15th. Because finally I was like, can I take this tree down?
Mm.
She was like, well, you didn't put it up until whenever. And I was like, okay, but like it's like the middle of January. So he's like, okay, fine, you can take it down. But nobody helps me put it up. Nobody helps me take it down. They'll help me put it up in the attic, but that's it.
Nice.
I'm sorry. Siri's talking to me. So I think you can put up your tree whenever you want. My sister had her tree up with no ornaments yesterday.
Nice.
I was like, I love that you have a tree up with no ornaments. I feel like that's a life hack I need to adopt. And she goes, no, Adam did that the other day, and I didn't put any ornaments on there because I didn't know if Sawyer would pull them off. And I was like, that's actually a good point. So she was going to put ornaments, she just hadn't done it yet. So now I'm like, can I get away with just putting up the tree with no ornaments and being like, Sawyer's going to pull them off? Because I do feel like he was doing that last year. So I try to like see how far, what I can get away with, you know? So